Hey guys, what's up? Jared here, Dex and Dice, Ramblings of an LGS owner, and I want to touch on this is kind of a reply video to Louie's video about the TCG fees and all that good stuff. If you don't know who Louie is, he does Kitchen Table TCG. Great channel, check it out. He's one of the ones I watch kind of frequently. But anyways, he just did a video about the TCG fees. This has been known for, I think, maybe 3 or 4 weeks now. That, TCG's raising their fees. If you're a level 1 to 4 seller, you get like a 0.5% increase. If you're a pro seller, I think you pretty much stayed the same. I don't remember exactly how much it went up to, but if you're a pro seller, you're approaching that 15-ish percent, 14, 15% now, which is where you've pretty much always been at anyways. And if you're just a level 1 to 4, you're approaching the 13, almost 14%. So like, there's no real reason for you not to go pro at this point. I mean, you're gonna save maybe 1.2% in fees. So like, maybe that was part of the reason why they did it. Who knows? Anyways, like, he did a really good in-depth video. Again, if you want to know the specifics, by all means, go watch his video. I just kind of want to touch on some stuff that he said that I think maybe, like, I don't know. I don't want to say I have issues with it, but I guess here's my 2 cents kind of thing. With the way that, TCG charges the flat percentage plus their 2 or 3% for basically running your card, their payment processor fee. That will kick you in the ass, especially with, like he shows in his videos, varying, like, different points, like dollar amounts. Sorry guys, it's early. Dollar amounts per card, like I think if you sell a dollar card on TCG Player, you actually walk away with 50 cents, give or take. And then if you sell a $500 or $600 product, you walk away with more. And that's kind of where their weird increases get weird, is because they don't affect anything that's over $400. Somewhere around there between that 400 and 500 mark. I know, guys, I should be able to, like, spot this on, but I just can't. Just, bear with me here. And which is really weird because, well, it's not weird. It's why would they charge more for that amount of products that hardly ever, I say hardly ever, but I mean, I'm sure they move, but like, you're not going on TCG Player and buying a damn dual land every day, or buying a case of, I don't know, we'll just say Lorwyn or whatever. You're not going on there and buying $400+ worth of stuff every day. You're buying $5, $10, $20, $30, $60, and that's where most of the percentages kick in, and that's where most of the percentages end up fucking the LGS or anyone who sells on there. Because, like, in his examples, I think he actually accurately put down that any card between $30 or $35 up to $60 or $70, you essentially get raped on. Like, you only end up with, I know I say only end up, but you only end up with 65 or 70% of, like, the card's actual value. And I know a lot of you are like, oh, well, that's pretty good. And not really, because when you, like us, for just blanket, generic starting point percentages, because yes, they vary if we need the card or not and all that, but starting point for us with, like, store credit is 60%, 50% cash, okay? you're only working with like a 40% margin typically. I know, again, other shops do other things, but then they're working with less of a margin. So if they give 70 or 80% store credit on a card, they're only going to be working with 30 or 20% like profit margin. Then if they sell that 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80 card after the TCG fees kick in, like, what does the shop really make off of that? Like, I'm sure it's, I can't really do the math in my head, but like, is it even break? Is it even break even numbers, or is it costing you more to actually sell it on TCG versus just in your store? Because if you sell a card like that, you have to put tracking on it, and or you should. You should really put tracking on it. I know TCG says that it requires a minimum of $50 for tracking, but just put tracking on anything over, Jesus, with how much it is now. My base was 25, but you might want to go 30. Anyways, just put tracking on stuff. But that is like a $5 to $5.50 like just package right then and there. Used to be you could put in a bubble mailer and everything for, I don't know, when I started, I want to say it was, if it was going to like a close by state, you were looking at 315, 325, somewhere around there. If it was going farther away, you might hit the upper threes, lower $4 mark. Like, yeah. But now it seems like if it's going anywhere, I do mean anywhere, it could be going to Georgia, which is right next to me, it will still run me like $5. So, like, after the TCG fees, after their little transaction fee, because they're separate, okay, they're separate, plus the $5 you're going to use to track the envelope, because if you don't, trust me on this one, and this is something I have a real bad issue with on TCG, not like issue, but like problem with just them in general, is you're going to see a whole bunch of like cards in that, 20 to 45, $50 mark if you don't put tracking on them, of the whole "my card never came here" scam. And we all know that song and dance. I've griped about it before, but here we are. It's a thing. It's what happens. I sell on Manipool. Honestly, the volume is close to being the same. Like, realistically, it is. It's just a lot of my lower end stuff is on Manipool. The higher end stuff is on TCG, which is why my TCG technically brings in more per week than my Manipool, even though they're kind of roughly the same volume. Anyways, it's going to screw you. So, like, I don't think there's much of a reason to put anything on TCG, like Louis said now, that's going to be between that, like, we'll say $25 to $80 mark. Like, after the fees and everything, after the shipping, after what you pay for it or give for it or whatever, do you actually make enough money off of that to warrant to continue to do it, to continue to sell through TCG, Or, like I've been suggesting, you kind of break away and you go to Manipool. Yes, okay. Manipool is new. Manipool's overall volume isn't up to TCG, but their fees are less. It's like an 8% fee, like grand total. Yeah, that's like a 6% fee plus their 2 something, almost 3 something percent for the transaction. So it's like an 8%, but you still get the transaction fee. Everyone does that. Cost of doing business, no way to really get around that. But that's it. Like, that's the fee. That's the fee structure, is 8%, boom, you're done. They have way better seller protections. Like, if someone tries to pull the, my card didn't show up, but you did ship it and all that good stuff, Manipool actually will side with you 9 times out of 10 and still give you the money, because why should you take the hit when someone's most likely trying to pull a weird little scam saying that it didn't show up, or like we've had with TCG players saying that it's not going to show up, We ask them to give it a couple more days, and they do. And then like they message us back, hey, it still didn't show up. Okay, cool. Here's your refund. And then after that, 3 or 4 more days later, their package actually shows up, and then you have to go in and be like, "Hey, man, their package." You have to, email TCG. Their package showed up. Can we get this fixed? Blah blah blah. So like, Mana Pool is a lot smaller, but it's a lot better. Honestly, it is. It's only for Magic right now, which I mean, oh no, Magic is probably what, at least 50-55% of what most people sell online anyways. So, but trying to get back on track. Sorry. Give Mana Pool a try, because we all seem to have this weird like Stockholm syndrome when it comes to TCG, and Louis kind of hit it on the head with this when he was like, I'm not saying I'm not going to try to quote him verbatim, so don't even take this as verbatim, but he's like, there's really no other reason to go anywhere else just because of the volume that TCG player gives you, and like you can't beat it, so you might as well just keep doing it, and so forth and so forth. Like, correct. Currently correct, yes. But if we don't try to build up some other platform to like rival TCG player, then this is all that's ever going to happen. Is they're going to keep increasing their percentages, their fees over and over again. They're just going to keep raising that shit. Shipping is just going to keep getting more and more expensive, to the point to where you're sitting there looking at your inventory, pulling up your TCG shit, looking at your fees, and you'll finally sit down and, calculate everything and be like, I just lost $5 on that card. Even though, we'll say I sold it for 60, but, after what I paid to acquire it, then listing it, the fees, the other little transaction fee, and the shipping fee, I lost $5 on that card. Why the fuck am I selling on TCG? I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight, but I can see that eventually maybe being a problem if TCG doesn't pull their heads out of their asses and stop being such arrogant, like monolithic, well, where else are you going to go, like Walmart-esque thinking when there's fucking Target, Like, think of it as in like that. If you have to like reason it somehow in your head, is, TCG is Walmart, Mana Pool is Target. I'm not saying the quality and all that good stuff, but just both can exist in the same space. Both are big. Both will supply you with what you want. You just have an option to do either or. At least let's build Mana Pool up to be like the Target of your online platforms to sell shit on, because TCG really does need some healthy competition. And I don't care what people say about like Star City or whatever, or Card Kingdom or whatever it is. Like, sure, you can go sell on there if you want to, I guess, but like, it's such, I'm assuming, because I haven't really looked at this, but like I don't know many people who buy from like Star City or anything like that. So I can only assume that their, little piece of the pie is like fractional, like just doesn't matter, drop in the bucket kind of thing compared to TCG. Because it's what we all know, it's what we all use, it's your default thing to do, it's your Walmart shop because it has every fucking thing you want, right? So everyone just kind of defaults and goes there. Like, I get it. But if we don't at least try to make Mana Pool better, bigger, and all that good stuff, then all we're going to see out of TCG is what we just saw is, oh, we're just going to raise your fees again. What are you going to do about it, bitch? Is essentially what is happening. And like I said, it's like a weird Stockholm syndrome, because they're right. What are we going to do about it? We're going to get punched in the eye again and be like, oh, they only did it because they love me. And continue selling on their platform while we're essentially doing all the work, and they're just sprinkling little crumbs of, oh, here, you can have some of the money that you actually, did all the work for. We just supply the platform, essentially. You know, we have, if you're not doing direct or whatever, that's a different beast. But like, you know, like we supply the platform, we run our servers and have IT dudes keep everything up and all that good stuff. So here, take your little morsel while you do all the legwork. Essentially, we're just gonna sit here and take everything we can because we can, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they're right. But anyways, guys, I didn't really want to shit on TCG because honestly, without TCG, yes, this shop would have probably folded by now, and I love TCG because of that. Again, I have Stockholm syndrome too. They punch me in the eye and they tell me they love me because I made them do it, kind of thing. But like, something's got to start giving. They have to pull their heads out of their asses, man. Because as much as I hate to say it, if it gets worse, I will pull my shit off of TCG and list it strictly on Manapool just because the fees are lower, just because I have better protections on Manapool versus TCG. It's just Manapool has not really shown me that it can move the prices that TCG can, because like I said, Manapool is really good at moving my like lower end cards, like my $3 and under cards, like really good at that. For some weird reason, and like I said in another video, you can go check it out, it seems to be only like deck builders and other maybe LGSs that are buying from LGSs to like get their bulk for, to get their bulk for like building their decks and all that good stuff. I can list $20, $30, $40, $50 cards on Manapool, and they will sit there for days, if not weeks, longer than they would sit on TCG, just because there's not as many eyes on Manapool as there are TCG. That's it, you know? But like, don't think that I won't just take that volume hit and just sit there and shove all the other expensive stuff just out on my singles case on the floor or something, man. You know, like, something's got to give. And without enough of us kind of like standing up and being like, hey, TCG, what the fuck? Or, well, hey, eBay, what the fuck? You know, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. They're going to keep escalating their little fee structure to where, like I said, you're going to sit there one day and be like, I just sold a $60 card, but after everything, I actually lost like $5. The fuck is going on? And by that time, it might be too late, you know? But anyways, just wanted to kind of do a little, I don't know, reply video to Louis there. And no shade, Louis. I like you a lot, guy. I'm not trying to start shit or anything. I promise. I'm not even punching up because I'm a super small channel and you're way bigger than I am. So, but anyways, what do you guys think, man? Just let me know in the comments and all that. Share the video around. Maybe it'll get some traction. Maybe it won't. Who knows? As always, like, sub, and then my famous little saying is, you know, life is not a dick. You don't have to take it so hard. You're a trash can, not a trash can't. And the reason why I say that stuff is because there's just way too much happy-go-lucky, ooh, rainbows, everyone be kind to each other bullshit out there, and I'm not about that life. I'm pretty much just cut, dry, realistic. The world will punch you in the dick and not even think twice about it, but it's how you rebound from that is what makes the difference. So, optimistic pessimist best describes me. So anyways, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later.